For this particular project, you're taking on the role of site builder, which is the person that does the prototyping. A site builder takes Drupal's building blocks and puts them together to create something that's as close to the finished product as it can be. They spend a lot of time configuring Drupal, which for the most part involves installing modules and filling out forms to configure the tools that they offer. As we go through this process, you're going to see lots and lots of forms. Site builders don't typically do any programming, instead they focus on this configuration. They also don't do any design work, but instead they make sure that the right information is displayed in the right general locations on the site, so when they're done, and a themer comes in to start making the site match the designs that the designer has created, they can do so entirely with CSS and not have to touch any configuration in Drupal at all. So the exciting part about being a site builder is that with every form you fill out, what you're really doing is placing an order. It's like ordering a meal in a restaurant. You pick an entree, an appetizer, and a drink, and then a brilliant chef puts all of the pieces together in a way that hopefully tastes amazing. And then this full staff makes sure of every other part of the process, like making sure the food is on clean dishes, and the drink is poured in the right kind of glass, and that when you're done, everything gets taken away and cleaned up. All you had to do was make a few simple choices, and then that team made everything else happen. So every form in Drupal is like that. A bunch of developers have captured their thinking into these little programs that you get to use without having any idea of what's going on behind the scenes. All you need to do is place the order, and you get something out of it that you can use. And Drupal is kind of amazing in that many of these components that you create can be used in all kinds of contexts. For example, you can place an order for a view mode with the display suite module, and then you can use that view mode in a view, or you can use it in search results, or you can even use it in a panel. When you create a view, you can use that view to display a list of content, or you can also use that same view as a filter that you can use to create a relationship between one piece of content and another. How cool is that? This ability to reuse the components we build is one thing that makes Drupal powerful, but it comes at a price. Because Drupal's most powerful tools are so flexible, they also tend to be abstract and multifaceted. If you imagine simple tools like a hammer or a screwdriver, you can tell just by looking at them that they have a clear purpose and what that purpose is. But if you abstract the idea of what these tools are supposed to accomplish, like screwing in screws, hammering in nails, and removing nails, and then you build something that does all of those things all at once, it might be difficult to identify exactly what it's supposed to do at a glance, and it will have a learning curve. Many of the tools that we use in this video series are like that. They're multifaceted and they're flexible. Views, panels, display suite, and feeds all allow us to instantly create components that would take a long time to build from scratch. But they're also somewhat abstracted and require some practice to really understand the scope of what each one accomplishes. So one of the goals of this series is to expose you to a variety of ways these tools can be used to build that understanding. And so sometimes we'll be building the same component several times using different configurations and explaining the benefits of each approach. Sometimes it might feel like progress is slow and that the project that we're trying to build is taking an awfully long time. But since we're focusing on understanding how these different components work and why they're useful in different contexts, you'll come out of this series being able to apply what you know to build much more complicated projects in a fraction of the time that it will take here. So next, what we're going to do is take a look at the scope of our project and talk about some of the approaches that we're going to take when building it out.